The perpetrator came back into my life the night of the rehearsal dinner.
Life was different, but I still had my secret.
The enemy came in and tried to attack.
Satan had me, the demons had me. I couldn't stop. Graduated from cocaine into meth. I was scared.
Go immediately to the emergency room now.
People need people no matter what you're doing or where you are.
The only way out is through.
God's presence in your life is everything. I began to walk with the Lord, and I began to understand the relationship, that He really loved me. What happened was straight from the pit of hell. The enemy came in and tried to attack, and the enemy is alive and well. And I didn't understand that spiritual battle, and it made me realize that was real. And I came face to face with it, and this close to kissing it goodbye.
Got involved in a church. I wanted to be perfect again. Somebody shared the gospel with 5 people. I wanted 7 people. I was involved in leadership within about 8 months because I looked the part. I still had fears. I still had regrets. I still had secrets. And I went out drinking, told my roommate all about it because I was broken. I mean, I was genuinely, authentically repentant. My roommate took it upon himself to tell the pastor what had happened. And they had an intervention basically with me. I came home that afternoon, and they had taken all the things that I possess and put them out in the front yard of the house. They wounded me. I was traumatized by that, I told myself, right? That was the weekend that lasted 4.5 years. I had graduated from cocaine into meth. I get a call from the fitness industry again. Now they want me to become the abs of steel person. Out of church, the world came knocking, I answered the world again. Now I had the fame and the success to warrant me keeping you at a distance. 4.5 years later, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning and heard a voice. And it was a familiar voice to me. And it was louder than audible. And it was God's voice speaking to me. And He said, I didn't call you to this. And I said, what do you want me to do? He said, go to church. Walked into this church, went into the bathroom, and did speed in the bathroom of the church. Worship ended, and a woman, probably in her 80s, walked up to this pastor and said, Pastor, I believe I have a word from the Lord for someone. And as soon as she turned up the aisle, I was looking for a place to hide. And here she comes. And I'm trying to hide. And she looks at me and she says, young man, God has something He wants to tell you. He's going to restore the years the locusts have eaten. I mean, what do you say to that? The next thing I remember, they were praying for me. And I stood up, and I was completely sober. And for the first time, I took a deep breath, and I said, Lord, you've given me my life back, and every breath I want to take from this point forward, I want it to be for you.
My faith grew exponentially. I was so hungry. I had been searching for so long. It got me through everything that I had experienced. It got me to a place of freedom.
Met Christina. We started dating. Addiction is unlike anything you can describe with words. A lot of people think that you just need to have more faith. You just need to trust God more. If it was as simple as that, I would have done it a real long time ago. It doesn't matter how much scripture you know, you're still held fast to the snare of Satan because you're still holding on to something and you haven't relinquish that to Christ. It's glorious that I'm forgiven when I admit my sin to the Lord. It's a whole nother level of wonderful when I know that I'm healed if I confess my sin to you. Life was different, but I still had my secret.
Within 3 months, he told me he loved me, took me home to meet his family at Christmas, and asked me to marry him.
I started going back out and using meth. I couldn't stop. Satan had me. The demons had me. This is all when we're engaged. I got honest with her, and I said, there's something I have to tell you. And I confessed it to her. I said, this is what I've been doing. This is what's been happening. And I'm sorry. If you leave me, I totally understand because I've deceived you. And she looked back at me and she said, no, that's not who I am. It's not who she is. I said, I'm committed to you, and I am. Let's get to work. So we started going through drug treatment, and she was there for me. Others were there for me. The church was there for me, until finally working with a sponsor through AA after going through drug treatment. We're supposed to share our moral deficiencies. Step 5, confess those things to other people. We got done. He said, what else? I was like, oh, dude, really? He said, what else? And I told him. And I said, when I was 18 years old, the girlfriend that I had, we had an abortion. And it was like something fell off of me. I can't even tell you. It was like something, I felt lighter. I felt the presence of the Lord like I've never felt before. Just like oil going down your body. And that was it. That was the proverbial needle in the haystack that needed to be taken out of that and just thrown into the abyss. I've never looked back. 21 years sober. I'm no longer held captive because, Christ has set me free. You want to pray? Let's pray.
He's such a great man of God.
God, I hope all friends be
My girlfriends laugh. I call him my prince. Before it was, I wasn't good enough. There's something wrong with me. I don't measure up. And God brought him to me. Everything that I needed.
Who wants to go first?
I was sexually abused. And I kept that to myself for a very, very long time. I was very upset in telling him, I think probably for the first time to anyone but other than my pastor, that it was my dad. The abuser was my dad. He thought long and hard before he answered me. He said he was sorry and that we would get through it. I had a decision to make. Was I gonna truly 100% forgive my dad and allow him to walk me down the aisle? My pastor said, no one would fault you, doing it, not doing it. But consider this. Jesus forgave us when we were sinners so that we could forgive others. And we can leave all this in the past if you so choose. He said, nobody's going to fault you if you don't. And that was a decision I did not make until the night of the rehearsal dinner. And that Friday night I chose to really forgive him. And I chose for him and my brothers to walk me down the aisle.
We enjoy a lot of athletics. Our son plays tennis, is very good at it, as well as Christina, who's very good at tennis as well. Our daughter plays soccer on a select team. And then with Michaela, she's really the center of attention a lot of times. And so the fun with her is really spending time playing with her.
But family dinners have always been the foundation of our family. No phones allowed at the table.
Hungry?
All the kids have to be out there no matter what we're doing. So if we're playing a video game, we just stop the video game. If we're on FaceTime, stop the FaceTime.
It's a deal where, well, if you have your phone at the table, it means you lose it till whatever, 10 o'clock, something like that. They get the message quick.
We probably have had dinner 5 times a week together for as long as I can remember.
I'd say it's pretty unique. You definitely don't see that a lot. There's too much information, too much technology, too much something that's going on. Even though it says it's supposed to connect us, it's more of kind of tearing us apart at the same time.
I think it's hard on teenagers and kids when they don't eat together as a family or talk as a family.
That's the glue. And of course, going to church, but we're always working. He's always working at church, so it's more the family time at the table.
And I don't know, as a parent, why you wouldn't want to know anybody better than your children.
We got married in 5 months, and we were pregnant in 6 months with our first boy, Grayson. I had 3 miscarriages after Grayson, and that was difficult.
Throughout the entire time, we're involved in ministry, we're involved in a young marrieds ministry. We would continue to receive baby shower invitations. She never did an RSVP and go. She showed up, she served, she celebrated, something that she obviously desired in her heart. And I just want to make sure that I say that, because it didn't go unnoticed by me that she was able to do that. So anyway.
I even remember seeing the stamp on my folder. It said habitual aborter. That was the medical term for multiple miscarriages. And I kept thinking, no, the Lord, I knew, I felt that we were going to have another child, but I just didn't know how. I was in the shower crying. And I said, Lord, you've forgotten about me. And I remember hearing the Lord say, be still and know that I am God. And I literally raised my hands in the shower. I'm like, I know who you are. I don't need to know who you are. I know who you are. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about, would you believe the entire time I'm pregnant, that I'm crying and having the episode in the shower? I don't know it, but I am. So that was Bella. I was scared the first few months, and then before you knew it, Isabella Rose is here.
And life was beautiful. A boy and a girl. After my story, after coming out of what I came out of, you start at ground zero. And my first job was spray painting football fields at the church across the street in August. So I go from ESPN and Time Warner to the guy with the hat and the shorts on with the spray painter. So that's what I did.
You were in seminary?
I was going to seminary on Tuesday nights, driving around all over the place, trying to make classes. But we were blessed. We were really, really blessed. Then our son, about the age of 7, started complaining about headaches. And then we were going to a back-to-school fair, and our son said to me, Daddy, I see 2 of everything. And it dawned on me there's way more going on here. She called the pediatrician, took a look at him, and was kind of oblique, wasn't real forthright about what he was looking at and why he was looking at certain things. And he said to us, listen, I have a friend of mine who is an eye doctor, and I want you to go see him. And I remember Christina saying, oh great, we'll set up an appointment. He goes, no, why don't you go see him right now? And I went over to see him, and this doctor did a bunch of other tests and exams. I was in my car driving home when I got the phone call from Christina.
The pediatrician had called me and said, you have to go immediately to the emergency room now.
He had a chance of living.
Collateral damage, going to be catastrophic.
My worst nightmare.
Our world was coming to an end.
Collapsed on the ground.
Asked the Lord, why have you forgotten about us?
About talking to Jesus.
You watch what God does with this.
Kept on getting these signs.
God's presence in your life is everything.
And we're walking out with a new life.
God is love, and love comes from God. In 1 John, the Bible tells us that God is not only all-loving, but that He actually is love itself. The heart of the Parent Compass television show is to bring the transforming love of God to families everywhere. In every Parent Compass episode, true stories reveal family struggles and how their lives were radically changed by the love of God. Parent Compass, an award-winning television series, is completely funded by people like you. If you have been touched by God and you want to share God's love to others, would you please pass it on? Jesus tells us to go into all the world and to tell about Him. With your donation, you allow us to take this television show into many different nations and in many different languages, free of charge. And a portion of your donation goes to Parent Compass Outreach to feed starving children. Your gift does so much. To make your tax-deductible gift, go to parentcompass.tv/donate. That's parentcompass.tv/donate. And thank you for sending love and hope around the world.